She's been a national correspondent, an investigative reporter, and is currently the host of the national PBS show A Place of Our Own. The new book by Elizabeth Sanchez is a collection of essays from those working in broadcast news. It's called Water Cooler, Behind the Scenes and Off the Record, the untold stories from broadcasters. I can't believe somebody didn't write this book before.
You know, I thought the same thing. I was doing research on this, and you know, the broadcast business, it's a $65 billion business, and nobody has covered the reporters till now. We always ask people, can you give us your story on the news? And we never give our story.
Yeah, it's really, sometimes the stories behind the stories are more interesting than the stories we cover, and yet it's not the one we were assigned to do.
Right.
You know? Tell me, recount just one or two that you've got in this book.
Well, my favorite stories, they aren't necessarily the most funniest stories, but Barry Peterson, who is an international correspondent based in Tokyo, and he writes about driving through a war zone in a car riddled with bullets. And he talks about, you know, the danger, what he felt, how he felt doing that. And then he also talks about on his days off when he was able to go home, and maybe he couldn't make it home because he actually had to hitchhike a ride on a cargo plane. And then what that felt like. And he actually has a stamp in his passport called Maybe Airlines, because maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't.
You were telling me that a lot of reporters don't really want to talk to you, even on the record, about what goes on. Why is that?
Well, I know with the economy the way it is, a lot of people were concerned about losing their jobs, and they thought, you know, I don't want to give management any excuse to let go of me or not renew me because of my contract. So I did get a lot of no's from people saying, you know, I really don't want to do that right now. And then there's some people, you know, who have big egos in this business, and they said, you know, they're going to write their own book.
Now, I don't want to help you.
Dr. Laura Schlesinger actually warned me about that because she was...
Tell me her story.
Yeah, I ran into her when she worked at KFI Radio. She was just local. She wasn't nationally syndicated like she is today. And I did not get a job that I thought I deserved, and I was sitting there in the bathroom at radio station KFI crying, and she walks in and says, you know, basically, hey, why are you crying? Okay, it's okay to be disappointed, but, you know, get off your butt. Go do something else. If they don't want to promote you here, go get another job. And then she also talks in the book with me also about her career and about the critics she has and about what led to her success, because, you know, now she's nationally syndicated.
And did you help her? Did you inadvertently give her a title for her book?
Maybe. She told me to stop whining, and she has a book called Stop Whining.
Yeah, get off your butt, stop whining, right?
Absolutely.
And tell me, do you also find, and I've done this, that actually there's some really dark humor that can emerge around disasters.
Yeah,
and sometimes we don't like to talk about funny stuff with serious subjects.
And that's true, and I guess in this business you have to have that attitude, because you have to kind of remove yourself from the situation when it's, you know, just a horrible, catastrophic event. I know in the book Water Cooler, Rita Cosby writes about the aftermath of Katrina, and she used to be with Fox News and MSNBC, and she talks about actually they got in a helicopter to survey the damage, and then actually their helicopter became the rescue unit, rescuing people, so actually helping people, and she talks more about that in Water Cooler. But it's just, you're right, there's just so many things that we come back to the broadcast studios and we drink water or coffee around the water cooler, and we say, hey, what really happened, Steve, at that story that you're covering?
And we know we love to regale our guests at dinner parties about the stories that go on. One thing you make the reader aware of is that being a television reporter is hardly a glamorous job.
No, it's not. And I try to tell students that all the time. It is not a glamorous job. You know, I'm wearing a skirt right now, but normally if I'm covering a story, I'm probably not going to be wearing a skirt, because if I'm a general assignment reporter, I'm not going to know what I'm covering.
And you don't know when you're going to get lunch, you know when you're going to drink water.
Sometimes you don't get lunch. The bathroom situation, covering the fires recently in Los Angeles and the Angeles National Forest, there are no bathrooms to be found.
Never.
So you're knocking on someone's door.
Fascinating book. Elizabeth Sanchez, thank you so much for being with us. Eminently readable, very short. If you want more information about the book Water Cooler, check out our website, WGNTV.com/midday. Jim Ramsey's forecast is coming up next.
Thanks for having me.